Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada Gunatito Aksharam Brahma Bhagavan Purushottama Jano Janandidam Satyam Uchyate Bhava Bandhanat. Om Shri Swaminarayan Namaha, Shri Hari Krishna Maharajaya Namaha, Shri Ghansham Maharajaya Namaha, Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to SwaminarayanSpirituality.com. This is Sachin Karnik. Today is the 30th of November 2023. I'd like to offer my Anantakoti Namaskara, Jai Swaminarayan and Jai Sri Krishna, Jai Sri Ram at the feet of all great sages and at the feet of Bhagavan Paramatma residing beyond Akshara Brahma. With that bhavana and prarthana, we're continuing today to examine further the question of Maya as per Garada Pratham number 1 Vachanamrut. We have been examining in connection to the answer Shriji Maharaj has given regarding Maya and Dhyan the 4 lines written by Muktanand Swami, Re Shamatame Sachu Nanu Biju Sarve Dukhadayaka Janu. So along these lines, to continue from the last recording which got cut off a little bit, Shriji Maharaj is very, very clear, crystal clear, experientially, excuse me, Maharaj is experientially clear about what is Maya. It is for a sadhak to realize what is Maya. See, this is a matter of internal and direct realization. How is this internal and direct realization going to occur? It occurs when a bhakta is intent upon realizing God, has set the destination to realize God, has set the intention to please Bhagavad Prasannata, to please God, to please Bhagavan. When the intention is clear, then the appropriate steps will fall into place. Even if some mistakes are made, one will recognize them and get back on track. And this is how Maya is recognized. This is the whole spiritual path. The essence of life, in fact, is to recognize what is Maya and to recognize what is God. 2 things we have to recognize in life. And this is the role of Guru. Guru, Sadguru, Satpurush, scriptures, shastras, etc. And all of us contemplating together. The purpose is to recognize exactly the structure of Maya and to not identify with that, to leave that on the side, because these are obstructions in connecting with Bhagwan, with God. Again, this path that is shown in Vachanamrut, for the most part, I would even say for all of it really, is Bhakti Marg. It is the path of devotion, where Upasana of Bhagwan continues all the way through and always remains. Upasana is never stopped at all, even in the liberated state. Seva muktischa gamyatam. So this is the Vishishtadvaita Tattvagnan, and Shriji Maharaj has expanded on that. We can call it Swaminarayan Tattvagnan or Brahma Vishishtadvait. Sometimes it is called that. Sometimes it is called Navya Vishishtadvait. But these are just ways that different scholars have sometimes talked about this. I don't want to go into the Tattvagnan here today, but the point is that Maharaj is very clear that Upasana never stops. In some other paths, you are Brahman, that's it, it's finished. There's no other than you. There's only the one without a second. But Maharaj is saying, yes, that is also there, that one without a second, that is Akshara Brahma Nirakara Swarup. But Maharaj says that is not the end. There is much, much, much beyond that. That is just a tiny fraction only of what the reality actually is, which is God Himself, which is Paramatma with form. Now those who are more on the Advaitic side would say, what nonsense is this? How can we agree to that? You don't have to agree. You don't have to do anything. You continue and realize the Brahman if you can. Then you will not be there. There will not be any you to experience anything. So there's no duality left. It's like what Ramakrishna Paramahansa would say, I don't want to become sugar, I want to enjoy sugar. So it's one of those kinds of things. But if that is your intention, that is also there. Shriji Maharaj is not saying no, that doesn't exist. It does. But Maharaj is very clear that there is Bhagwan Purushottam, Paramatma, beyond Brahman. In Advait Vedanta, this is definitely not accepted. This is not, as a philosophy, it is not accepted, that there's anything like Parabrahma separate from the Brahman. Advaita is just one without a second. But here, that the Tattva Jnana of Maharaj, from the Ramanujacharya line, is more towards the notion that yes, the Brahman is there. Nijatmanam Brahmarupam. Dehatraya Vilakshanam. The whole Advaita Vedanta is covered in this half verse only. But it doesn't stop there. It goes further in that Parabrahma is beyond, and the continuous seva of Bhagavan remains. This is somewhat of a dualistic philosophy, no doubt. Anyway, but from our level, from where we are, whichever paths we're following, bhakti is good for us. Bhakti is psychologically good for us. These philosophical debates, they remain mostly philosophical. Most people are stuck inside the dualities and the problems of the world. They may listen to these philosophical debates and it doesn't go very far. It remains very abstract, right? So we don't want it to be abstract. We want it to be very applicable in our everyday existence. Right? So along these lines, I want to go further into some of the other connections that I haven't talked about, and I'll be getting back to these 4 lines also. Re shamatame sachunarnu. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow, we'll see how that goes. So, Shriji Maharaj is very clear that there is the futility of worldly pursuits and attachments. That to keep running in the pursuit of the worldly experience, earthly riches, earthly experiences of different kinds, material level experiences. These things are very serious deflections in dhyan. See, Shriji Maharaj's statement about dhyan addresses the concept of Maya in the context of meditation. It's a meditation on Murti, on Bhagavan. You're meditating on the Lord Himself. So as Maharaj is saying, that any object, any person, place, thing, internal processes that act as barriers in the meditation on God's form, on the form of Bhagavan, is considered Maya. Right, so this notion that Maharaj is explaining, this way that Maya is explained here, is that Maya is anything that distracts from the realization of the ultimate truth. It's a distraction, it is an obstacle, it is an obstruction. So along those lines, this verse of Muktanand Swami, Re sham tame sachu narnu, biju sarve dukhadayaka janu. The first verse echoes the statement by referring to Bhagavan Sham Sundar as the only one true wealth, while considering everything else as a source of sorrow. I'm just reviewing a couple of things from last couple of days. This mirrors the idea of Maya as all material pleasures and attachments that distract from focusing on that divinity, on God, on Bhagavan. All material pleasures and attachments are distractions. So when one recognizes the transient nature, the coming and going of these worldly experiences, of worldly happiness and whatever is going on in the world, that's a barrier in realization of the truths. It's a barrier in spiritual realization. And that is why we can renounce false attachments. So Muktanand Swami's verses, they touch upon the theme of renouncing false attachments, where the foolish mind, is lost in the illusions of Maya, leading to suffering. This is the harmony. This is in harmony with Maharaj's teachings, that these obstacles and attachments are in meditation on the form of God. And the cessation of the mind's tendencies reflects a state of being free from Maya. The cessation, the stopping of the mind's natural tendencies, which are extroverted towards the sansar, what do? That cessation allows for a much deeper focus on divinity, on divyata, on Bhagavan. So it's very, very interesting to understand these interconnections. Seeking eternal bliss. Again, the difference between eternal joy, that is alaukika sukha, and the worldly happiness. Muktanand Swami says, Re akhanda alaukika sukha saru, Re joy mana mohyu maru, Re shama tame sachu nadu, Re akhanda alaukika sukha saru. Akhanda alaukik means eternal, unbroken, transcendental joy. Even to listen to such an idea is so wonderful. To get a glimpse of that is the whole ball game. We want that glimpse of that unbroken joy. It's that Maya. Of course, the way Maya is defined, these are distractions, barriers, etc. But we want to realign our mind again and again in divine meditation. Again and again dive back. Go back time and time again into the Swarup of Bhagavan. In Gujarati we say, Farithi varamvar Bhagavan na Swarup ma manni vritti jodvi. Man vritti ke Bhagavan ni murti ma dubi jau. To drown inside the murti. That is the real thing. You see, so as Muktanand Swami says, dhara dhana tama uparavaru. That is the third line there. That all of the earthly riches are sacrificed for you. Sacrificed in what sense? Psychologically, they are all let go. They're not held inside that this is mine. In fact, nothing is mine. See, Re akhanda alaukika sukha saru, Re joy mana mohyu maru, Dhara dhana tama uparavaru. Tama uparavaru. Dhara dhana means what? Dhara means the worldly riches. Whatever they are, I'm offering them back to you because you are the source of all of that. I'm not holding on to any of it mentally. Physically in our life, we hold on to things we need to. But that's all. Dhara dhanatama uparavaru. That is the beauty of this. So when Muktanand Swami says that I'm sacrificing every earthly rich, every earthly experience at your feet, O Shyam Sundar. And again, remember, in the broader sense, we can use the word Shyam for Bhagwan Krishna, Bhagwan Swaminarayan. You can use the word Shyam for Bhagwan Ram if you want. You can use it for Shiva if you want. Whoever your Ishta Devata is, no problem. You can still use all of these lines for that. If you believe in Jesus, you can apply to Jesus if you want. It's the same truth. God is only one. God is not two different things. We have created God knows how many differences. There's no difference in God. Bhagavan that is residing beyond Akshara Brahma is only one. It's not two. The avatars are many and all that. That's higher level Tattva Gnan. We won't go into that. But in the general sense, Bhagavan ek hi hai. Gunatitanand Swami in his Vato said, Jem Surya ek che, evrite Bhagavan pan ek che. Just like in our part of the solar system, in our part of the galaxy here, the sun is one and all the planets revolve around. Similarly, God is one. It's like that, right? So, Sriji Maharaj's perspective here is it is a monotheistic perspective. Right? It is monotheism, one God, one supreme being who incarnates again and again and again and becomes accessible to us. Right? So this unbroken alaukika sukha, which is alaukika ananda, yesterday we talked about that. And so Muktanand Swami says, in the fourth line, he says, Re Brahma thi kita lagi joyu juthu sukha janine vagovyu. What does it mean? He says, I can see from the ant to Brahmaji, all the 14 lokas. That's the way of describing it. Kita Brahma. Brahmaji's life is 100 years, his 100 years. And then that being is gone. You see? And then the ant's life is a short life. That being is also gone. So Brahma thi kita lagi joyu. And all the beings in between, including all of us. Juthu sukha janine vagovyu. You know, that I can see that all of the happiness that is experienced from the insect to the Brahmaji, it's all false happiness. Juthu sukshe. It's not the real ananda. It is all reflected, twisted around through Maya. This experience is there. You know, I disdain false happiness. Muktanand's mind is captivated by the company. Muktananda manatama sanga mohyu. Muktananda manatama sanga mohyu. Reshama tame sachuna nu. How beautiful. Muktananda manatama sanga mohyu. Muktanand Swami has put in his name at the bottom because poets put their name at the end. He says that my mind is in moha of you, O Lord, O Bhagwan. You have taken my mind, like the Gopikas, like Hanumanji, like Uddhavji, like great saints, Premanand Swami, Gunatidanand Swami, Tulsidas Ji, Mirabai. Their mind is taken over. It is in moha of God. Muktananda manatama sanga mohyu. Tama sanga. See again, before he mentioned in line number 2, Jutha sange hare shirapatiki. In the fourth line he mentions Tama sanga, your sanga. That by your contact, my mind has gotten lost in you, O Lord. This is bhakti. Those who want to do bhakti and who are inclined towards bhakti marg, these types of beautiful poems are inspiring. They are motivating. They allow us to differentiate between that which is Maya, that which is not Maya, that which is worth pursuing, that which is not worth pursuing. There's great, fantastic truth in all of this. This third line, Re Brahmati kita lagi joyu, juthu sukha janine vagovyu. That I have thought over in my mind carefully, that all of this happiness from the Brahmaji all the way down to the smallest of insects is what? It is false. Everything that we also experience, it's just for the temporary moment. We have those experiences, but it's not akhanda sukha, akhanda ananda. The re akhanda alaukika sukha saru. That alaukik sukh, what is this? To actually taste that, to touch that is what we want. And for that to happen, dharma, jnana, vairagya, bhakti, satya, daya, ahimsa, brahmacharya, akhanda vritti, Bhagwan mein prem, ye sab baat, sant ki seva, satsang ki seva, all these things allow for the vritti to be lost in God, to be absorbed in Bhagwan. And that is the most difficult sadhana also, as we mentioned in the Akhanda Vritti Nirupan before. So a lot more can be said about this. Now I want to cover another angle to all of this. This is more from psychology. So with regards to theories in psychology, there is something called cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance and Maya. So cognitive dissonance theory in psychology is proposed by Leon Festinger, and it deals with the discomfort experienced when holding two conflicting beliefs or values. This is a serious problem for nearly every devotee, even many sadhus, because there are two conflicting beliefs and values. So in the context of the teachings of Sriji Maharaj and the verses that we're looking at from Muktanand Swami, the concept of Maya can be likened to cognitive dissonance. Maya creates a conflict between the reality of the Murti of God, the divinity, and the illusion of the material world. Our mind gets split in the two, between the world and its pleasures, the pursuit of the material world and its experiences, and the connection with Bhagavan. This is called cognitive dissonance, when two conflicting beliefs and or values are held at the same time. This is the problem. The problem is that, we want Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha, Matsar. We want the experiences of the world, and we also want God. This is cognitive dissonance, psychologically. You'll see how the great theories of psychology are just in that one line that Sriji Maharaj has spoken. I'm going to prove them to you. Sachin Sevak is going to prove them to you, to the listeners. It's very interesting, and it shows the power of each line of Vachanamrutam. So you'll see. So the entire theory of cognitive dissonance, which is a massive, massive theory. We could spend years just talking about cognitive dissonance and all the research that has gone behind that. It's very, very powerful. You see, so this type of conflict internally, this is the problem. This cognitive dissonance is a very serious psychological difficulty. It's a mansik difficulty. Maharaj has discussed this throughout Vachanamrut in many places. He says one part of the mind says yes, one part of the mind says no. There is satsang within us, there is kusanga within us. This is all cognitive dissonance. It's really, really quite remarkable. So just to be clear, what we mean by much of this, the contradiction inside the mind causes energy to be torn apart. That's what happens. Shakti gets fragmented. Chitta Vibrant. Sriji Maharaj described this fragmentation as satsang karta karta chit vibrant thai chai. Garada ante number 2. Antenu biju Vachanamrut. It's a very powerful Vachanamrut. And in the BAPS Guru Parampara, Pujya Yogiji Maharaj used to say that was his one of his most relevant Vachanamrut. They're all relevant for him, but it's called like Angnu, something that you focus on a lot, build your life around. So that was, please remember, as I give these references of different gurus, different paramparas, different things, it is not to criticize anybody, it is not to promote or to promote one organization versus another. I'm just giving them giving references. We're giving references from all different places. Okay, so please do not think that I'm advocating one group versus another, one idea versus another. That's simply not the case. We want to take good things from everywhere and pay attention on our own mind and not try to get into conflicts and unnecessary arguments. All right, having said all of that, what is very interesting here is that the cognitive dissonance theory is really this concept of Maya in one sense. Because Maya creates a conflict between the reality of the divine, the reality of Bhagavan that is in front of us, that is within us, and the illusion, the obstacles, the obstructions of the material world. And this is where our ability to see higher and greater truths about ourselves becomes absolutely relevant. It becomes relevant because we need to improve the function of our mind. See, when Sriji Maharaj is saying dhyan karvu, it means that in this dhyan, problems of cognitive dissonance are going to fall away. See, in the field of psychology, Cognitive dissonance is the perception of contradictory information and the mental toll of it. What is the mental toll? Mental toll meaning this is the mental agitation. And I'm actually referring to here from a research article by L. Dawson, When Prophecy Fails and Faith Prevails, a theoretical overview. It is from there. You can look that up if you want to. So whenever I give references here, they're all these comments are all references made, from various places. So it's very interesting. Now, there's also other concepts like relations among cognitions. Right? To function in the reality of society, human beings continually adjust the correspondence of their mental attitudes and personal actions. Such continual adjustments between cognition and action result in one of three relationships with reality. I'll explain what this means. We live in society, do we not? We live in society of all kinds. Human beings, as we are, we have to make adjustments with our mental attitudes and our personal actions in relation to the people in the society. Isn't that so? So such continual adjustments, because they have to be made again and again, between cognition and action, thinking and what we are acting, between our mental activity and our action, these adjustments are needed over and over again. And that is exactly what is needed to become established in good communion with God. Our thinking is going in so many different places, and our action is, sometimes we're doing bhakti and some rituals and all that, but they are not adjusted properly. So what we need is a consonant relationship. consonant. Consonant relationship is what? Two cognitions or actions consistent with each other. In Gujarati, it is said, man karma vachanti revu. Man karma vachanni ekta. What we are speaking, what we are thinking, what we are doing should align in one. Not thinking one thing, speaking something else, doing some third thing altogether. That is all fragmentation. That is not a consonant internal relationship. So a consonant internal relationship is where two or more cognitions, or say emotions, cognitions, mental activity, and our action, verbal, mental, physical, our action are consistent with each other. So that consistency is the key. So for example, somebody is smoking cigarettes, but is also doing mantra, mala, puja. This is contradictory. It is not consonant relationship. It is a dissonant relationship. See, dissonant relationship is where two cognitions and two or more cognitions and emotions, they are inconsistent with actions. So if somebody smoking cigarettes is a simple example, and then is also doing the mala and puja. Okay, do the mala puja. But that smoking that cigarette thing, that is maya, that is obstruction. That is a diversion away from the connection with Bhagwan. So that internally is called a dissonant relationship. And this is the problem of vasana. The vasanas inside are what create the dissonance. Dissonance means diversion, means inconsistency. It's very, very interesting. So, to better understand this, cognitive dissonance theory proposes that people seek psychological consistency between their expectations of life and the existential reality of the world. I'll explain this. Do we not have expectations in life? We have all kinds of expectations. But the reality of life is not always like that. So many things happen that are not as per our expectations. This happens in sadhana. When we are doing sadhana, particularly like meditation, dhyan, bhajan, bhakti, we have certain expectations. Maybe our expectation is that our mind should become still. We should have more clarity. All those things are true. But then our own feelings, emotions, the blockages are so severe that bhakti doesn't last very long. That's why the avrana that Maharaj is talking about is so deep inside that the bhakti gets torn away. Bhakti gets fragmented away. Shriji Maharaj uses language like this in the Vedras, where Maharaj says, Mumukshuni pakho gnyan ane vairagya rupi pakho tuti jai che. That means that they are broken. Gnan and vairagya get damaged. Bhakti, upasana and agnya get damaged. The two wings of a bird. That's an analogy. This problem is there in cognitive dissonance. And of course, there is emotional dissonance also. That dissonance is all energy torn apart because the mind is moving in many different directions because of ichha, because of vasanas. It doesn't have just one vasana, that is to please God. Bhagavani prasannata. If the mind can reach that stage, then all these problems vanish. You see, but we need to understand what they are. So that's why the change in one's behavior is necessary. One can decide, I'm not going to smoke that cigarette, or what I'm going to do, what I'm not going to do. That change in behavior is what Shriji Maharaj has defined as dharma. Dharma gneo sadachara shruti smriti prapaditan. That sad acharan is a change in behavior which also changes our cognition, changes our emotion. And then from that, there are definitely justifications. We justify our actions. We want to justify all those things we want to do that disconnect us from Bhagwan. When Maharaj says, Je padartha adu avine avran kare, that obstruction that is there is our own logical justification to do what we want to do based on our desires. That's why Maharaj said, Je gnani che e mannu na kahe e gnani. What the mind is wanting you to do, you don't do that, then you are a gnani. Gnani is not by how many hours somebody has made recordings or talks or nirupan. That's okay, that's a seva, or that's a kind of exposition for Manan Chintan. Real Gnan or Gnan, different languages pronounce this word differently. Gnan or Gnan or Gyan in Hindi. The real Gnan is where there is no obstruction created by the mind that wants to do other things apart from connecting with Bhagavan. This is the idea. You see, so we have our own internal prejudice. That's the problem. That is the very, very difficult problem actually. You see, so to understand these points, we need to recognize that when we are making a decision, whatever the decision may be, the smoking example, for example, we can decide to quit, but then people start up again. They're called failed quitters. Why is that? Because the desire for that still remains. And the desire for it goes away when one gets a glimpse of this alokik sukha. That's why Muktanand Swami is saying, Re akhanda alokika sukha saru. That there is sukha even in the cigarette or in the tobacco or whatever, the substance. There is something there. But that sukha is not real sukha. It is jutu sukha. It is false sukha. Jutu sukha janine vagovyu. It is not real happiness. It is all pain only. It seems like happiness. It's like that fake coin, useless. It's not the real $100 bill. It's the shamatame sachu nanu. This is the big difference. That realization is very big. That's why even the devotees who interact with the sense objects, they offer them all to Bhagavan first and then they take them as prasadi. In Gujarati, this is called prasadi. Particularly in the Swaminarayan satsang, probably in other Vaishnava traditions also, that word is probably used. It's a very beautiful word. Bhagwan ane Bhagwanna mota santani prasadi. Prasadi means it has gotten the touch of the Lord, that now it has become nirgun. Then you can interact with it. It produces no karma. It is a blessing, in fact. So all the food we eat is to be offered first. Everything we do, all of our actions are offered first. Anything we buy, we offer that first. This is called Atma Nivedi Bhakti. Not Nivedini, Atma Nivedi Bhakti. This is written in Shikshapatri. There are devotees like that. Even today, there are many of them that offer everything to the Lord before they engage in any action. So those actions are going to be pure. Actions are going to be good. They're going to be benefited. And the touch of the Lord through devotion, touch of God is there through devotion. That is a difference. Sire Shama Tame Sachunanu Biju Sarve Dukhada Yakajanu Resham Tame Sachunanu. See, this is how we can get rid of the cognitive dissonance. This is why Muktanand Swami wrote these 4 verses in this poem. What does it do? It absolutely obliterates cognitive dissonance. I don't think in any psychology book anything like this is written about Muktanand Swami. But there is a beautiful intersection between major theories and problems in psychology and the teachings of the Paramahansas of Maharaj and Maharaj himself. Tremendous teachings are there. Tremendous ideas are there. Right? So these are some continuing contemplations for today. On the 30th of November 2023, I want to offer my Shama Prarthana, and then we will continue along these lines further and in more detail tomorrow. Om Kara Charanakritam Va Kayajam Karmajam Va Shravananayajam Va Manisam Va Paradam Vihitam Avihitam Va Sarvametat Jai Jai Karunabde Shri Mahadeva Shambho. Om Shri Swaminarayan Namo Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Tat Sat.